From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this Independence Day weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. A surprise announcement when President Trump unveiled a trade deal with Vietnam this week.
If we can get some more trade deals here, is this a potential game changer for commodity prices?
Sure. Get a trade deal with China that mirrors phase one, that includes large purchase agreements, and it's a game changer. But anything less than that, as of right now, I don't think is going to be a market mover.
A weather rally may not be out of the cards just yet, but there's also talk of just how big this year's corn crop could be.
The weather forecast for the next couple of weeks look favorable, cooler temperatures with enough rain. So this is a special corn crop.
It's not just low corn prices making farmers concerned.
When we look at the price of urea versus the grain price, something we look at quite a bit, especially the corn price, incredibly high value.
And a moment that changed the course of history.
Some section in a township in North Dakota is measured right back to right there.
We're traveling the American countryside with Andrew McCrae. Now for the news, Congress this week rushing to complete work on President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill with several provisions that would impact agriculture. Both the Senate and House GOP worked around the clock to get President Trump's massive tax bill passed this week. On Thursday, House GOP leaders overcame objections from even Republican lawmakers on provisions for SNAP, Medicaid, and rural hospitals. The bill over 800 pages in length. But for agriculture, tax provisions received high praise, including avoiding a year-end tax hike. But the bill also provides $66 billion in new spending for farm programs. According to AgriPulse, that's the largest infusion of new money into farm programs since 2002. But here's a breakdown of the changes. According to Farm CPA Paul Neiffer, this is how it will impact PLC. On average, it'll add $28 per acre for corn, $47 for soybeans. Wheat is an additional $40 per acre, and sorghum is estimated to see $28 per acre. But on cotton, they could see an additional $87 per acre. Neiffer says while everyone's PLC yield is different, he simply used an average yield to calculate these figures. Now, American Farm Bureau applauding Congress's work this week, saying, quote, more than half of farmers are losing money, so an increase in reference prices is desperately needed, and tax tools will help farmers and ranchers plan for the next season and the next generation, end quote. The market this week digesting a new batch of USDA numbers that many thought would bring some surprises. And maybe the surprise was there wasn't much change. The agency releasing its 2025 acreage estimates, sticking close to its projections back in March, calling for 95.2 million acres of corn. That's up 5% from last year, but down slightly from the March intentions and the average trade guess. For soybeans, though, it says farmers planted 83.4 million acres this year, just a small change from March, but down 4% from last year. Wheat at 45.5 million acres, slightly higher than the March intentions and down 1% from last year. Well, news that sent the cattle markets lower this week. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins says the U.S. will open the southern border to cattle, bison, and equine imports again as soon as Monday. But USDA says that it will be what it's called a risk-based phase reopening. The timeline is July 7th in Douglas, Arizona, July 14th in Columbus, New Mexico, July 21st in Santa Teresa, and then 2 Texas ports of entry, Del Rio on August 18th and Laredo on September 15th. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins originally closed the border to Mexican livestock imports over concerns the Mexican government was not cooperating in the New World screw worm eradication. But the decision to reopen southern ports reflects the fine balance of both biosecurity and trade, according to NCBA CEO Colin Woodall.
She has since been able to send teams down there to see what's happening on the ground and feels comfortable enough now to be moved forward with these border openings. And we are very supportive of the action that she has taken.
Prior to the ban, Mexico imported an average of 1.1 million head of cattle into the U.S. annually. The news caught the cattle market by surprise as there were expectations the border would not reopen until late in the year. That's it for the news. As we enter July, weather is key for corn yield. So how's the forecast shaping up? Brad Rippey joins us next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer. Next level yields start with genetics proven to perform. Pioneer. Next level yields start here.